From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, listen to the show live. New features are coming very, very soon. Tonight's show is brought to you by the Mighty Moose Beard Oil Company. It's 100% Canadian, 100% natural, taking care of beards around the world. Visit MightyMooseBeard.com. Don't forget to use promo code SOR2019 today. What drives the paranormal? And is there a tie between what's happening in the haunted realm and, say, a subject like UFOs? Looking into this deeply, it's a very, very touchy subject for some, and very few investigators are even willing to go down this road. But this is something that Dr. Barry Taff has been looking at since he first jumped into the paranormal pool half a century ago. Dr. Taff is a world-renowned parapsychologist who worked out of the University of California, LA, so UCLA's former parapsychology laboratory from 1969 through 1978 as a research associate. During his 4-decade career, Dr. Taff has investigated more than 4,500 cases of ghosts, hauntings, poltergeists, and conducted extensive studies on telepathy, precognition, and UFOs. His website, barrytaff.net. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Dr. Barry Taff, we welcome you to tonight's show. Thank you so much for taking time to join us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here. I've certainly heard of you before, but I never had the opportunity to speak with you. But I really appreciate your asking me to come on your show.
Well, we take the time, and you know what? I do have to say that for probably the last 6 months, almost every day, you are responding on the Thought of the Dave on our Facebook and Twitter pages. You do it on Facebook, and I'll tell you, some of the knowledge that you share with us in those is absolutely fantastic, so thank you for keeping that up with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Yeah, you're welcome.
Barry, when you got into university and you wanted to go into studying the mind, studying the brain, studying people, did you ever think that it was going to take you down the paranormal road?
No, actually, when I was much, much, much younger, like in high school, I had it all figured out what I wanted to do. I was going to get out of high school, go to the Air Force Academy, okay, and then get a Doctor of Sciences degree, become a test pilot, and maybe become an astronaut and retire as an airline executive. But I thought by the time I grew up, we'd have crewed starships, which, of course, never happened. I have a strange link to Star Trek and Roddenberry and Shatner, going back more than 50 years. Because I couldn't go out into space, I thought I'd go inward. And growing up, I was having recurring experiences of telepathy, of precognition, of out-of-body experiences. And I thought everybody was having these things. Everyone could do this. And I found out they didn't. And early on, it took on a unique form. But see, if this stuff never happened to me, I wouldn't believe anyone, because I'm very skeptical. Because, people exaggerate, they embellish, and they lie, and, especially if there was money involved in terms of entertainment. But I started having, how to describe it? If you saw Man of Steel, 2013, little Clark Kent in school, and suddenly his X-ray vision cuts in, and he's staring at people, and he can see through them, inside of them. That's exactly what I went through. I mean, not close. It's almost identical, except I didn't run into a closet and hide and turn the doorknob superheated with my vision. But I was able to look inside of people like they were glass, a three-dimensional color X-ray, for lack of a better term. And I've told this story before, but it bears repeating because it shocked me as much as it did everyone else. This little girl named Christine, blue-eyed blonde little girl, was walking towards me during recess. And I knew nothing about her other than the fact she was another girl. I was, 10 years old during the 5th grade. She's walking towards me. It was a sunny day, wearing a light blue dress with a little flower on the top. And I'm looking at her, and suddenly I could see that under her dress there's a plastic bag and a tube coming out of her side. And I thought, what's that? Remember, I'm 10 years old. I knew nothing about medicine. And I went up to her. I said, Christine, what's that weird bag and tube coming out of your body? And she started screaming, went and got the teacher. They brought me to the principal's office, and he said, so what did you do? Did you look under her dress, or did you sneak in the girl's bathroom? I said, I did neither. Well, what are you talking about? I said, well, I didn't do either. I said, it's sort of like, Superman. He went, what? Like, X-ray vision. He goes, all right. And he said, we're going to have you arrested, and you're going to not be expelled, but have a little break from school. We have to call your parents. And I'm looking at him. I said, you've got that a scar, that inflamed part of your abdomen when you had the appendix removed years ago. Now I call it a keloid, but I didn't know that term. I said, it's always like a purple color. And he turned purple and turned green and turned red. He called my mother. And he told my mother what's going on. My mother says, yeah, Barry can do this. And he went, what? He said, Barry can do this. What do you mean Barry can do it? He can do it. Okay. So he hangs up, and he sternly warns me again that if I ever do this again, never report, I will be thrown out of school. I would be expelled, not suspended. So it did happen again, but I didn't talk about it. I can do this at will even today. Sometimes it pops on its own. But anyway, that's the tip of the iceberg. I'd be able to close my mind, close my eyes, just relax, and able to see people at a distance, what they're doing, what they're wearing, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, wow, this is kind of neat. And then telling my friends about it, and they all kind of backed away from me. They don't know how to interpret this. So I started college in 1967, and there was no one doing this work there. I wasn't at UCLA yet. And then I ended up writing a number of letters to a woman by the name of Dr. Thelma Moss, who I knew was working at UCLA's Neuropsychiatric Institute, and she was doing research in various areas of parapsychology. I wrote her a long letter. She never responded. I called switchboard. She never responded. I bumped into a graduate student of hers by accident, and I told him about what I could do. Okay, here, I'll set up an appointment with Dr. Moss. We'll call you. Well, okay. So she said, meet me at my house, because I lived not very far from her in Beverly Hills. And I go over. I knew nothing about her at all, other than the fact that she'd been doing certain research in the field. And I sit down in a nice, beautiful little home, and she says, okay, here, hold my keys. Can you psychometrize things? Yeah. Okay. So I'm holding them. I describe different things and whatever. And then I said, I see a fat, blue-eyed blonde woman named Shelley, and she's screaming her lungs out. Her best friend was Shelley Winters, the actress. An accurate, although unflattering, description of the actress. And then I described some other things about Dr. Moss that were true. And so that ended up getting me, they did a study on me. I started working in the lab part-time. I didn't even have my bachelor's degree, so I think I was about to start my third year of college. And I was a research assistant. And they were doing research on me. It was published decades later. And about a decade later in a medical journal. I don't remember the number. You could see it on my website. And a study of a psychic. Okay, so you're psychic. But why me? Why not my parents? Why not? I don't have any brothers or sisters. Why no one else? Cousins? Just me. Why? And then I started working with her, and it was really easy to do for me. And then I began doing work of my own there beyond the study. And I had two areas that I focused on. One was the in-laboratory work, a little more boring than the other, but in the laboratory, could you teach normal, stable, mostly grounded, functional individuals to enhance their psychic ability? Could you train them to become better at sensing non-localized information. Could it be done by using a standard learning paradigm? So I said, I think it should work. And I started, actually, in 1970, and went on for quite many years, discussed in my website an article called, it'll be in my new book, but the article is called Learned Psi, Learned Psi, Training to be Psychic at barrytaff.net. It's a lengthy article, but it's worth reading, I think. We found that if people are told when they're accurate, you're getting a remote perception of something, if you're given immediate feedback as to whether it's right or wrong, and the feedback is detailed, your brain begins to learn what's real and what's not, what's fantasy. And we did this, and it got to the point where it became a little too easy to do in some respects. And so, okay, real-time ESP stuff, the telepathy, the clairvoyance, it became a little boring. Well, we were being visited by different individuals that Dr. Moss had told to come to this particular aspect of our lab. I didn't know the people. They came in wearing civilian clothing, and men and women. They were affiliated, some with CIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, NSA, Office of Naval Intelligence and Naval Research, blah, 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 and we were demonstrating what we could do, and they were kind of freaked out. I remember one instance where we were given a target, a name, actually, of a person, and we described in detail the building and development of the Ohio-class nuclear subs, the Trident subs, and the missiles, the D-5 missiles. And these were being developed. They weren't even deployed yet. So they demanded to keep our audio cassettes we made because it was classified. So they were really interested in working with us, and they were willing to fund us to a degree, but only if UCLA put a stamp of approval on the project, and they would not. The NPI, the Neuropsychiatric Institute, already had a less than positive reputation in orbital undercutting and psychosurgery and things like that, so they didn't want to get involved with something as politically incorrect as the paranormal or parapsychology. So we couldn't work with them. We did some work. It worked really well. And the work that ended up going to the SRI, it became remote viewing, was a sort of an evolution of what we were doing. And the results were just as good. And so all of this got to the point of going, this is amazing that somehow our minds, our brains, can access information that isn't around us, near us. Well, wait a minute, but how do we do that? Okay, that was the laboratory. Actually, let me give you an example of how state-specific this became. We got to the point, as I said, where the real-time ESP stuff, it became boring. It was like, once you can run the 4-minute mile, like, okay, you've done it. How many more times do you have to do it? So we try to do a precognitive session. This is the first time. And so what we did, the last session, one of our groups, we talked ourselves down to a progressive state of muscular relaxation, hypometabolism. And we described the target, randomly chosen target of the first target of the next week, 1 week away. So we start describing a tall woman in a beige pantsuit, blonde hair, big blue eyes. She's seated in one of the 24 chairs in the room we were using. Each had a number on the bottom of it. And we see a 3-story mansion in the Hollywood Hills. We see a baby grand piano. And, could have been, again, these are thoughts coming to us. We're verbalizing. There's no feedback because it's precognitive. So we going on. And then we all of a sudden start describing a really tall man, 6'4", maybe 6'5", dark hair, wearing all black pants, black shirt, black gloves, black hat, black mask, black cape, and an imposing sword. And we thought, are we losing our minds? Okay, we concluded the session. A week goes by. We come up with a new group, and everyone that comes in through third parties who had never been there before gets a sealed envelope within which is a piece of paper with a number on it. They sit down. We explain, I'm going to roll some dice. And they sit down wherever they want, except the chair I use to control the recorders. And I say, I'm going to roll these dice. When they stop rolling, look at the number and open your package. If it's your number, let us know. So we go, okay, we roll the dice. And this woman goes, oh, that's my number. Okay. So they said, you're okay. Here's a tape you're going to from last week. We play the tape, and if anything fits you directly, or the person you were thinking of directly, stop it and comment. If not, let it go. Okay. Mm-hmm. We described her. The height was correct. Yep. Her look was correct. Dirty blonde hair, big blue eyes, very statuesque model-like, wearing fashionable a suit a model would wear. And, okay, about 20-some chairs in the room, she sat in the one we named a week earlier, but we didn't know who she was because she hadn't picked the number yet. Then we describe three-story home. That's where she grew up, in the Hollywood Hills. Baby grand piano, yep, they had one. But that could all be coincidence, right? Yep. We start talking about the tall man, all black. She turns white. And she goes, how do you know who I am? And we went, what? But how do you know who I am? And I said, what do you mean? She said, I'm Tony Williams. And we went, who? Tony. Her father was Guy Williams, who played Zorro for Disney.
Oh, interesting.
And she went, wait a minute. She said, I didn't know I was coming here till a few hours ago, and you picked me by random selection. So how could you have known this a week ago? One second. How could you have done it? I said, exactly. But I don't get it. I said, no one does. And it impressed us to the point we tried it again a few months later. And all we kept seeing was fire, fire, fire. So we stopped. It was very depressing. The next day I'm up in the lab, and we were on the fifth floor, but it was actually the third floor, the way the NPI was laid out back then. And we see fire engine, hear them coming to the NPI, rush downstairs. The conference room that we used had caught fire, and I didn't start it. A electrical outlet behind some drapes sparked, and it caught on fire. And so no wonder why we saw fire. It was imminent. Anyway, these are the type of things I grew accustomed to, and they were very normal. But this was the boring end of the research. The really amazing end is when you go into the field and you investigate claims of hauntings and poltergeists and apparitions and doppelgangers and things like that. And then you discover there's a weird link between all of this, between the paranormal and between something that's supposedly not from here, meaning perhaps UFO related. And
right.
Yeah, this is where it gets really weird, because everything I expected to learn in my career, every single thing I didn't learn. All the thoughts, the wishes, well, no, this, no. The things we've learned are amazing, and they fly in the face of everything we thought we knew, or we would know. Before I'm going to bounce back and forth, because I have to at this point.
Sure. We only got about 4 minutes before we got to go to break.
Okay. The whole idea is that why is it that many people who have close encounters of the third kind, which is contact with the entities, the occupants of the vehicle, or fourth kind, where they're abducted, they frequently have paranormal fallout, spontaneous healings, out-of-body experiences, poltergeist activity, blah, blah, blah. Why? We don't know. And then the other end, people who have a high degree of paranormal perception, remote viewing, whatever you want to call it, ESP, seem to be more prone to having a UFO encounter. Does it mean that happens all the time? No. But there's an intimate connection between all of this. And when we come back from break, I'll talk about what we've learned about the ESP end of it, and that we are so connected to stuff, it's spooky.
Well, one of the things, Dr. Taff, that I find interesting in regards to this was how many government officials were very interested in your talents. And as you progressed through your own maturation, through remote viewing, through telepathy, and so on, when you realized that these government agencies were really conducting tests to see how real you were, did it give you some sort of insight to maybe the darker side of what the government is hiding?
Not necessarily darker side. It made me aware that when they perceived what we were doing and the specificity of it, they became frightened. And they realized when remote viewing started disappearing in terms of the formal work was stopped, the government went to great lengths, our government, to make it appear as if all the remote viewing research that was done was fraudulent, meaning we were misguided, misperception, nothing happened, there's no paranormal phenomenon, you can't see things at a distance or through time. Why? So no enemies can use it against us. It's a disinformation mechanism. The fear on the part of these people that were coming to our labs was rather disturbing, that just because we don't know what something is doesn't mean it's frightening, that it's threatening. But the people who live a life that's based on paranoia and controlling everything, the idea that there's no closed doors, there's always open windows, is a little unnerving to them.
Mm-hmm. So did you learn at that point that the government, as we got about a minute to go, was very much interested in remote viewing, intuition, psychic ability, UFO phenomena? Did you realize that, or did it come to you?
No, we initially, of course, didn't know who they were. So we were shocked. We realized who they were later. And some of them kept coming back, and they kept asking for more specificity of what we're doing, and we could do it. Again, it's not like a machine where you push a button and, it worked. It worked well enough where they were shocked. And the whole problem with this is that they were more in the dark than we were. All they knew is they wanted to put this to use to better the intelligence community or the military community or whatever. And what they're discovering is that you can't shield against something if you don't know what it is or how it functions. And there's where the problem is. How do you control this if there's no way to stop it?
And that is something we can discuss when we come back here on Spaced Out Radio. We got a special guest tonight on the show talking paranormal, talking UFOs, the interconnection between the two. We got a lot of questions coming up for Dr. Barry Taff. His website, barrytaff.net. That's 2 F's, barrytaff.net. More Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. A reminder that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can read up on the SOR Newswire, listen to the show live, and very shortly we are going to have new features coming soon. We introduced Dr. Barry Taff tonight. We are talking the paranormal and its ties between ghosts and UFOs. Is there a correlation? Some of us think so, others not so much. Dr. Taff is going to get into that with us. His website, barrytaff.net, if you want to check it out. Dr. Taff, welcome back to the show.
Well, pleasure to be here. It's
started
fun. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. Thank you. When you started investigating after all of this with the government, you and your remote viewing and everything, and you started getting into the hauntings, the ghosts, the spirits, the poltergeists, what led you down that path?
Well, if you look at the human history, that every culture, regardless of what ethnicity or the color of their skin or their gender, every culture has talked about ghosts, apparitions, things that go bump in the night. There's no culture where this has not been reported. And yet, even though they're very similar, there's differences. So it's a very homogeneous thing. I mean, it's occurring everywhere. And it's been reported since prehistoric times. People have on cave walls, they've depicted what people think are ghosts or aliens. And the question is, why don't we know any more about this? And what if there are things that these events have in common that we are not aware of, and that if we knew them, we'd better be able to document and understand why they happen at certain places and times and around certain people. And
so, go ahead, please.
Please. I have thousands of cases in my files, from the absurd to the ridiculous. The chance of running into phenomena every time you go out is sort of like winning the lottery every time you play it at the $1 billion level. It just doesn't happen. But when it does happen, it's mind-boggling. And they're like a case that became fairly famous in terms of a book and a movie, The Entity, a woman from 1974. It's on my website, it's in my book. You can read about the case. My colleague and I went out to interview her in Culver City, California, August 22nd, 1974, hot and humid, no air conditioning, and we sit down with her, and the first thing she says that she'd been repeatedly raped by a ghost. I thought, oh, God. I put my hand over my forehead, and I rolled my eyes out, going, one woman's psychotic. She had a psychotic break. So he's telling us stuff. And once I heard that, I just thought, why waste my time? So we were nice and calm. We told her really not much we can do for these situations because they're personal. And she was very evasive in the sense she wouldn't even give us her age. I knew she wasn't as young as I was, but she wasn't that much older. And when someone's evasive about their age, there's a reason there. Anyway, we witnessed things in the case that were extraordinary. In the kitchen, a lower cupboard door flies open, and a frying pan, a skillet, goes flying across the kitchen on its own accord. So we check to see if there are animals in there, or a child is in there, or if there's ropes or springs, and there were neither. Now, this woman had 4 children. She had 3 male children and 1 female. The youngest one, female, we never even met. And each child was from a different man, so she was living in sort of chaos. So she was very evasive, and we did begin to capture these strange orbs. I call them corpuscular masses of light. They looked like what you see in a lava lamp. They were green. They were zipping around the room. And it was really strange. What we photographed, we couldn't see. What we saw, we didn't photograph. Absurd. And at one point, we were sitting in her bedroom, hot as hell, really warm, very muggy, and he's just sweating, and a whole bunch of us were trying to make something happen, and we'd see more light zipping around her. We got one picture. It looks like a comet with a tail on it. We used Kodak Tri-X film. There was no digital technology yet. It was in the mid-'70s. And then these are all on my website. And an even more bizarre one was Doris being framed by an arc of light. And what's so spectacular about this photograph is that if you look carefully, behind the arc of light, the walls of the bedroom meet at a 90-degree angle. So if this was a projected light source, just a form of a hoax, the light would be bent in accordance with the wall. But the light is not. It's in space. But we never saw this. We took another picture of the bedroom, and we didn't see anything. We have an arc going from top to top and bottom to bottom, like inverted arcs. We never saw this. Okay. And we discovered that we had no reference, meaning we couldn't tell where the lights were coming from or going to. We couldn't determine speed because we had no reference. So we put up black poster boards on the wall and ceiling of her bedroom, and we duct tape. And every panel had a number on it and a magnetic orientation. You could tell where it was, where it was going to. And not everything. That didn't work all the time. At one point, weeks later, she calls us in the middle of the night. We go running out there, and something had torn down all the poster board, the duct tape, taking the paint and plaster with it. And she said she saw it happen. Now, she could have gotten on a ladder, but she was pretty small. I mean, almost as small as me. She could have done it, but I don't believe she did by the reaction she had. So we were trying another seance, trying to make something happen while we're there. And she said that if certain music was on, that it would help her and her kids said the phenomena would react to it. So we put the music on, as painful as that was, and the lights are zipping around. And then, show us something you do. So I said, just blink twice for yes and 3 times for no, and it was doing it. And then we show us something, and then we hear a weird sound. This is in a pitch-dark room except for the light from the phenomena. And suddenly, parts of the, parts of the duct tape were being pulled off the wall and the ceiling very rapidly, and one of the poster boards flew across the small bedroom and hit Doris in the head. But there's no one there touching it. You have to get but a ladder to get it. And we asked her to do it again. It did it again. So anyway, this was a really famous case. There was also a horrible odor in the house, that of decomposing organic matter. We had a Hewlett-Packard sniffer was brought in. It's a machine to track odors, and we couldn't find anything that would relate to the odors we all smelled.
Right.
So, the woman finally moved from Culver City to Carson, and not unexpectedly, the phenomena moved with her, which is quite common. Now, contrary to what many people believe, or what people online think, I don't believe that the entity case was one of a ghost that was raped or disembodied consciousness or discarnate embodiment, whatever. I believe it was a poltergeist case, that meaning a form of recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis. She was very overly sexed, and she had a weird psychosexual relationship with her boys. One bigger one, two a little younger. Now, she told us that the rapes occurred long before we met her, that there were two smaller male entities that would hold her down, and the bigger one would rape her. And conveniently, she had two smaller children and one bigger one. So, does that prove it? No. Does it disprove it? No. But you don't need a class or a degree in psychoanalysis to put two and two together. So she moves, and we lost track of her for a while. And fortunately, the man who wrote the book and the original screenplay, Frank D. Felita, he knew she was much more open with him. He tracked her down. We found her. We were at her new place, and a big vase full of plants and water comes flying around us and slammed into the floor. And it's amazing that nobody was hurt, because if it would have hit us, it would have either killed us or, produced a massive concussion in your head. She moved again after that. Oh, I should say before she moved that she didn't tell any of her neighbors about what had been going on, knowing that the skepticism might freak people out and cause her to lose her rent, her ability to rent the place. And people on both sides of her began experiencing poltergeist phenomena not long after she moved in, almost like a proximity effect. And you go like, what? Okay, so she moves again, finally. She moves to San Bernardino or Riverside, one of those areas. I forgot which. Doesn't matter. It's middle of nowhere. And the phenomena occurred again. Toilets flushing, water turning on, banging noises, machines turning on and off. The same thing over and over again. Now, then we lost track of her. And we know now that she died, I think, in the late 90s of cardiopulmonary arrest. And they weren't quite sure why her lungs and heart stopped. She wasn't that much older than me. So, but she'd been drinking a lot, not hard liquor, but a lot of beer. Who knows what else she was consuming. But, we can't prove or disprove what happened in that case. We can prove that we caught something on film that we can't explain. In fact, we had the West Coast editor of Popular Photography back in the 70s, a man named Adrian Vance. He examined our negatives from the entity case because I have never seen anything like this, and I wouldn't even know how to fake it. SLR lenses should not produce these types of images. He said, I don't know what it is. Okay, you don't know what it is, nor is anyone else. So the case was odd, but for reasons we never really thought of because we didn't have enough knowledge till later. Another great case, which is in my book, is the San Pedro case. 19 began in 89, went through about the mid-90s, a woman named Jackie Hernandez. It's a long, long story, but it's a long, complicated story. But what's interesting, this leads us into the connection to all of this, is it followed her. San Pedro, up at Weldon, back to San Pedro, she moved to follow her. But meanwhile, phenomena continued to occur in the original place she was staying at in San Pedro. New tenants who knew nothing about the prior occupants. There had been no publicity, no shows done on it. They began experiencing the same type of phenomena independently of Jackie Hernandez, which brings to mind the concept of a contagion. We know that if, let's say you're healthy, you're going over some friend's house and their kids are sick. So you stay away from the kids, you wash your hands, but you come home and 2 days later you're sick. We know what that's a vectored virus. Okay, we understand that. I think there's something similar going on in such cases, the paranormal, but it isn't biologic. It's an energy, a type we don't yet understand. If you're susceptible, if you're sensitive to this energy, and you're in the environment, it's the right environment, it will alter you in a way where you may end up carrying it with you until it bleeds off on its own. Because, I mean, how can... You know, and also phenomena broke out. My colleague at the time was a man named Barry Conrad. He was a professional cameraman. And so phenomena broke out at his place a number of times. It's in his book called An Unknown Encounter, and a video on the case. Phenomena broke out at his place. Phenomena, it kept attacking another one of our assistants named Jeff Wheatcraft. And in San Pedro, he was up in the attic one night, and suddenly he's trying to come down, and you hear like a yell or a screech. Something wrapped a clothesline, thick plastic around metal, around his neck into a bowline knot, and was pulling him up over a bolt in the attic. Had one of our other people had not been there, Jeff would have died.
Incredible.
Okay. But that's not even the strangest part of it. Jackie hated Jeff. Jackie looked, Barry Conrad always reminded me of a young Elvis. You know, dark hair, blue eyes, tall, good-looking guy, you know. And most women looked at Barry and they wanted to jump him. Jackie was no exception to that. And Jeff was always in the way, was always around, and she wanted Jeff out of the way. Who does the phenomena keep attacking? Jeff. Hello? You know, duh. And then, but why did it start occurring in Barry's North Hollywood or Studio City apartment? It didn't make any sense. But only after Jackie'd been there and left. Well, we didn't know something until a couple of years ago, and that was that Barry, she was coming over to stay with Barry a little bit when things got really bad in San Pedro. And she was there with the kids, I don't know the details about the kid, but she was there, and Barry was playing games with her emotionally. And they had an affair, and other women would come by. He'd kick out Jackie for some other girl, and this went on over and over again. Jackie was getting really upset. She was getting pissed. And her anger was manifested in the way the phenomena was breaking out around Barry Conrad's apartment. What a coincidence. She gets angry, and the phenomena breaks out around there. And we did a show. We had so many shows on the case. Forgot one of them. It was a female producer. It was really interesting. I'm talking about this. She says, "Oh, so Jackie's telling the ghost what to do, and the ghost does it?" I said, "No, there's no ghost. It's Jackie." And what? What do you mean it's Jackie? It's her subconscious. Monsters from the id, like in the movie Forbidden Planet. Why did these things work like that? Well, 1 second. We've seen this over and over again. These things seem to be directed and enabled by strong psychosexual emotions or stress. And this is what we learned in thousands of cases. Not that the dead are walking around attacking people. No, that'd be way too simple. It seems to be a pattern goes like this. There's different types of cases. What I'll be talking about primarily is poltergeist, mind over matter coming from living human agents. Okay. Now, a good metaphor is this. You have a DVD in your hand. Well, what do you have to do to watch the DVD? Well, it's got to be put in a DVD player. The DVD player's got to be plugged in the wall. The DVD player has to have a TV connected to it, and you got to have a remote to operate all the part of the ensemble. If any part of that ensemble is missing, nothing shows up on the screen. The same thing may be occurring here. What we need is unique physical environments, a somewhat anomalous, perhaps high amplitude electromagnetic or geomagnetic fields. We need people who are hypersensitive to those fields, people who have problems coping with stress. And the strangest correlation is that a high percentage, if not most, of the poltergeist agents I've met and worked with over the decades seem to have one thing in common. They're either seizure-prone or epileptic. And strangely enough, when they take the medication to quell the seizures, the phenomena stops as well. Now, this can be something of being seizure-prone, not blatant epilepsy. It could be just focal seizures, but they take the medication, the seizures stop. They stop taking when the seizure stop, as does the phenomena. They stop taking the meds because it makes them nauseous a lot. The seizures start up, and the phenomena start up again. So, wait a minute. This doesn't make any sense. There seems to be a way in which humans can access energy that's everywhere and put it to use in what's called psychokinesis, mind over matter. There's two types of mind over matter. There's the microscopic type you do in a lab, random event generators, random number generators, computer programs. Okay. It's very hard to demonstrate. It's kind of wasted because in the end, what do you learn? Not much. Then there's the macroscopic type that can take massive objects like people or furniture and throw them around the room like they weigh nothing. So here's the problem. This is where it gets interesting. When you see a table that weighs 850 to 1,000 pounds bouncing up and down like there's invisible Superman beneath it, pushing at it, long before energy we know of would make that happen, the room would burn up. It would get so hot, things would combust. And usually the room doesn't get hot, it gets cold, which could be the effect of a strong electromagnetic field on our body, can induce the follicles, hairs on our body to become erect, which produces a feeling of cold. But take a person, like in the St. Peter case, like Jeff Wheatcraft, 6'2", about 190 pounds. Before he could be picked up and thrown against the wall, his clothes and everything around him should burst into flame by the heat liberated by such an event. But that doesn't happen. We got a problem. In the universe we know of, there are only 4 types of energy. There's electromagnetism, there's gravitation, there's strong nuclear and weak nuclear forces. That's it. There's some interplay between them. But if those were responsible for the effects we're seeing, the people would be killed by the event. You'd be immolated. You'd be vaporized long before anything would move. It's not happening. So in my book and on my website, I talk about I call some people act as biological operational amplifiers.
Right.
And their bodies access the information around them, and they can make it work in ways we don't yet understand. Not only that, but some people act as operational amplifiers. Others act as a lens or a focal plane. They focus the energy, and usually they don't mix, but sometimes they do. This is what's interesting.
We only got about 10 seconds, Bear.
Oh, okay. No, this gets strange because we're discovering that the most powerful energy seen by UFOs are very high-amplitude magnetic fields, which really affect the human biology.
Well, let's get into UFOs and the paranormal and where it starts to tie together. Dr. Barry Taff is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. 50 years of investigative experience. He's learned a thing or two. We're going to find out what that is right after this in Hour 2 of Spaced Out Radio.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com. Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime. The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, down in Ridgecrest, California, KZFX 93.7 FM, WQEE 99.1 FM in Newnan, Georgia, and on UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Great to have you with us. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, AQL. AQL is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, listen to the show live. The Gavinator will have new features coming very, very soon. Tonight we are talking with Dr. Barry Taff. We're talking about the connection between the paranormal and UFOs. Does it really exist, or is it a figment of our imagination? His website is barrytaff.net if you want to check him out. Dr. Taff, welcome back.
Thank you. So far, it's been interesting, because I mean, a lot of times on some shows they won't let the guests talk. You know, the host does the talking, and I sit there going, "Hello, hello." That's not the case here.
Well, we do it a little differently around here because people want to hear you and the guest, not me. So it's very much okay with that. Now, Dr. Taff, in your research over the last half century, have you noticed a lot of similarities between people who have had a paranormal experience or a UFO experience, and then all of a sudden the latter starts to happen as well? Right.
I do. And see, before we jump right in, let me preface that by saying this. If you took a sample of 1,000 people, maybe 1 million people, who went around the world to famous haunted locations. Most of them, nothing will happen while they're there. They'll go walk around, whatever. A few may go there, they feel a little funny, a little different, and even a smaller number may show up, and their presence will trigger phenomena. And the bottom line with all that is something called inductive resonance coupling. So if your body's nervous system resonates with the local geomagnetic field, wham, it's like turning the switch to get your car to turn on. And this is important, and this is where it gets even stranger. What would people think if I tell them that our long-term memories may not be stored in our own brain? And
really?
What? Huh? There's some evidence to support this. It's called, implicate order, that there's a cloud effect, and our memories are stored remotely, and we access them remotely, our long-term memories. If this is true, then that means that we operate on a paranormal level every day of our lives. And this, what? It's like, so this is where it gets, how can you see the past if it's gone? Okay? How can you see the future if it has not yet occurred? Well, let's see. What if all the information that makes up all of space and time exists everywhere? And this is what we lead into this. This is, imagine, okay, if you take a normal 8x10 headshot of a friend, a model, and you tear it in half and quarters a little bit, you get little tiny pieces of you can't see anything. Take a hologram that's made by using lasers, and I won't get into the details, but you can look it up online. That type of hologram, if you cut that in half, or a quarter, or an eighth, each piece has the ability to recreate the entire image because of the way the information was distributed when the medium was produced. Evidence suggests that part of our brains work like this, that memory is somewhat equally distributed in our brains. Evidence suggests that space-time part of it may work like this, that consciousness may, which means the information that makes up the past is still existing. It's still there. But can we access it? Some people can. Some can't. The information that makes up something remote, hundreds of miles, thousands of miles, or more away from us, can we perceive it? Yes, because everything is equally distributed. But again, what about the future? But if the information's already there, then what about free will? How much freedom do we have? And this is a real big problem because the more you look into this, the stranger it gets. That there's an element of reality where we're all linked together in some strange magnetic way. And this leads to the next thing. Why is it that people that have close encounters of the third kind have paranormal fallout? Why is it that people who have paranormal encounters have a higher probability of running into a UFO or whatever? Well, it could be that some people's nervous systems are easier to access than others. We do know, and this is where it gets really weird again, that the energies at work regarding this, the paranormal, are not energies we know of, but the way in which they couple with our body is through its biomagnetic field. So it's like, what? Huh? And this gets really weird. Give a case. Okay, this was a TV network executive back in the 70s. I went out to his home, nice guy with his wife, no children, and very successful guy, and poltergeist activity. They didn't fit the pattern. There were no kids. We don't know what came before. Maybe there's energy there. It was no. So talked with him a few times, went out there a few times. Nothing happened while I was there. Some months later, he and his wife are driving north on a vacation, and they see what they thought was a plane about to crash. So they turn right, go to a little canyon up some hills, and they come around the corner, and there's a disc sitting on the ground. 30, 40 feet in diameter. There's these little guys in like white something, and they're picking stuff up off the ground, and they both look, oh my God. And at that point, one of the occupants of the vehicle, smaller than a human, turned towards the couple in the car and looked like lifted a metallic rod that emitted a light. They blacked out. The next thing they knew, they were driving on the freeway hours away. They didn't remember going. Okay, so it started as poltergeist, and it evolved into a close encounter. It destroyed their lives. Terrible. They got really upset, really angry, bitter. Who do you talk to about it? He couldn't keep a job. It wouldn't one move from a network to another, and then he realized he couldn't work anymore. He was too distraught. Their marriage failed. Their relatives couldn't stand them anymore. And, okay, now let's get to something really personal. It's one thing to talk about other people, and they've had these experiences, or they've had these encounters. But it's another when it comes home to roost. I mean, it affects you, meaning me. Okay, 1977, Valentine's Day. I'm on a case in L.A., and so I remember walking into this apartment with my colleague, and there was a couple there, the woman and the man, and I was so blown away by the woman's beauty. For the first time in my life, I was frozen. I just couldn't stop staring at her. She looked like a young Liz Taylor or Joan Collins, my stereotype. Right. And I just, oh my God. So my colleagues all like, Barry, and they're like, huh? What? Oh, yeah, right, okay. So long story short, the case was interesting, nothing that great. But she was living with her ex-boyfriend, but they were no longer in a relationship. So her and I got together a month later. We started dating. We had a relationship, and it was perfect. And for me to say that is like, huh? I tend to meet women who either think I'm crazy or they make me look normal. And if either of those are the event, nothing will come out of the relationship but chaos. So we got along really well, emotionally, physically, intellectually, whatever. She was very gifted and the whole bit. And so then the dreams started. And the dreams to me were relevant because in the dream it was July 22nd, and something happened that ended our relationship. Now this is in May, in late March, in March or May. Dream after dream, always the same. I didn't tell her because I figured if I told her, she would think I wanted out of the relationship, and this is my way of getting out of it. I didn't tell her. I wrote it down. I didn't tell her. And, she was interested in the paranormal. She was very gifted, it turns out, which is great. She worked with us in the lab. She was an unpaid volunteer, some of our site training, our reviewing work, and it was great. Worked on some cases with us, but nothing major. So now I was staying with her in a condominium in the Hollywood Hills, Hollywood Bowl. This is relevant why I'm saying this. So I wake up in the morning, and she's under the covers. She's sobbing. Why didn't I help her? I go, what? Why didn't you help me? I go, what are you talking about? Under the covers still. What's the matter? Why didn't you help me? She's crying. But this, I go, what? What are you talking? When the room lit up, I go, what room? This room, the bedroom. I go, what? Now, from under the covers, she said the room lit up. She found herself lifted up out of the bed, and then she found herself in a room. It was circular. It was metallic, like brushed aluminum or stainless steel. It was cold, and there were these little guys around her. No hair, no nose, no outer ears, and they were poking and prodding her. And they were hurting and cutting and doing all these terrible things to her. And, I said, do you know anything about UFOs? She says, what? About UFO abduction? She goes, what are you talking about? She had no interest whatsoever in UFO. I mean, at all. None. She didn't know about it. So she said, why didn't I help you? I go, what are you talking about? When they did these terrible things to me. Okay. She said she was restricted in her movements, and it was really, really upsetting. And She finally, I coaxed her out from under the bed. She's got bruises around her neck, around her wrists, around her abdomen, around her ankles. Her hair had been cut in a weird way, looked like little melon baller scoops had been taken out of her back. She was bleeding from her nose, bleeding from one of her ears, bleeding from a uterus. She wasn't menstruating, bleeding from her rectum, and she didn't have any known problem there. Anyway, it sounded a little too weird because she described a classic gray alien with the big black eyes, and she said reptilian, and she knew nothing about this. It was like just recalling an event. What was interesting, that night at around 2 o'clock, the clock stopped for about 2 hours. I didn't know it till we woke up. Why is the clock off? So over the next several days, neighbors said, "Did you see that thing last night?" I go, "What are you talking about?" "That thing. What? The thing over us." I go, "What? What are you talking about?" They said, "It's this glowing reddish orange thing. It was huge, and the power went out." And I go, "No, I didn't see anything. I was trying to sleep." Well, I did sleep. Now, what is it? Whatever it is, they took her and they left me. To be silly about this, I wouldn't take me, because I would have driven them nuts going, "I'm not leaving till you tell me what your propulsion technology is. How do you do what you do? What's the power source? Blah, 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 blah." Anyway, had this not occurred, I can't prove or disprove what happened, but she became a mental vegetable. She got really weird, somewhat delusional. She started having, over the years, she said there have been they've abducted her over and over. It's not just one event. It's a serial abductions. Anyway, she followed a certain religion, very odd type, not Judeo-Christian stuff, very strange stuff. And anyway, she's a vegetable now. So now she thinks she's a goddess of Egypt or something or whatever, But if this had not occurred, whatever it was, we would have been married within a year. My life would have changed dramatically. So people ask, "Ever been married?" I go, "No, close to it." Yeah, but it was there was an extraterrestrial wall stopped it, an impediment. So I can't prove what happened. I can't disprove. I know what it did to her, and I know what it did to me. It would have been terrible if you're settled down, you're living together, you get married, and then this happens and the person falls apart. What do you do then? You got a whole life, you're living together, you bought a house together, you're renting a house together or something like that. So that was, we've had other cases, but those, one more. And this I've only told one other time. This was, early 90s. I went to see a play a friend was putting on, and somewhere in North Hollywood. Well, I was there, and I got there early for parking, and I was walking around. There were some shops, and there was an interesting shop. I walked in there, and there was this really stunning girl. I don't even remember her name. Doesn't matter. She looked like the movie. Remember that movie called One? Bo Derek. She looked almost identical to Bo Derek. Very similar. So we started dating, and it wasn't going anywhere. And she said, "Oh, by the way, I hope you don't get upset if my friends come by. They'd like to meet you." I go, "Who?" "Well, I have friends. I think they'd be really interested in you." "Why?" "Well, you're a little different than most other people. You seem your what's important to you is different. Your behavior is different. You're more sensitive to things. I think they really would like to meet you." I said, "Well, when do I meet them?" No, they'll come to us." When? "In the middle of the night." I went, "Huh? What? You'll know it." Okay. I didn't give it a set. I thought, okay, a little weird. Maybe I walk away from her before the insanity becomes, there's a major psychotic break. And so weeks later, we're together, and put the water here. They said, "Go to sleep." And suddenly, in the middle of the night, I'm awake, but I'm not fully conscious. I'm strapped to a table that's angled with my head going down a lot, and that my body doesn't like being upside down. And I couldn't move, and I didn't recognize the bedroom we were in. I didn't feel any covers over me, and all I know is that I got a really bad headache out of it. Okay. And then I saw her also on one of those tables. Okay. So we wake up, and she said, well, what'd you think about it? But my friends, they thought you were really special. They were a little worried that you might remember too much. I went, what? What you talking about? She goes, don't you know? Well, you're not the type of person they'd really want to be with because there'd be problems. Okay. That was in 1992, I believe. Okay, now, this one gets really weird. Out of the blue, she pops up. I haven't talked to her. She's married now and whatever. She pops up about 5-6 years ago, out of the blue. And I talked to her about things. I said, remember what happened when your friends showed up in the middle of the night and a little bit? And you remember that? She goes, no. Don't you remember you told me? No. She has no memory of the event, like it never happened. And so, but she remembered it the next morning of the event, but years later she had no memory of it at all. Remembered other things when we were dating, but didn't remember that. But she's the one who told me about it. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what didn't happen. Yeah, we've had a number of other cases, serious people who claim to be abducted. They don't have any aberrant emotional characteristics. They're not looking for attention. They don't want the world to know what's happening to them because they know they'll be labeled as crazy or psychotic, and they don't want this to go any further. So they talk to us quietly. We don't record. We have their name, but we record an address. And what's bizarre is this is where it gets interesting. The instruments that I use over the last 15 years are to measure environments. There's a low-frequency electromagnetometer, low-frequency spectrum analyzer, a geomagnetometer, an air ion counter. These are laboratory-level equipment. They're very expensive. Now, measuring electrical fields coming off human bodies is not that difficult. Our electrical field is pretty potent. But magnetically, we're really weak. Our magnetic field is a mere fraction. And it's not measurable by handheld devices unless they were supercooled. And, of course, there are no handheld superconducting sensors yet. They're all in machines.
Right.
But when you take the instruments we do use, you put them in front of a poltergeist agent, you see these enormous magnetic fields, but not around other people, normal people. But then we take it around, measure people who've been abducted, and their bodies are putting out the same thing, tremendously high amplitude magnetic fields. What does it mean? We don't know. But the whole thing is, from the dawn of civilization in different cultures, people have reported beings coming down from the sky. Sometimes they're humanoid, sometimes they're not. It's all over the world. And, well, there's no vehicle we can go look at or real body we can submit to an autopsy or a necropsy. You're kind of left, well, maybe, you know. But I've had in my life, let me think, 1, 2, 3 UFO encounters that I'm aware of. One was in 1982, driving home from a friend's house. It had just finished raining. We were watching something on his TV, and he lived in Palms. I lived in West Los Angeles, so I was just like 10 minutes away from him. I'm going to my shopping center, and it looked like a flying object was about to crash to the shopping center at Palms.
Barry, hold it off right there because we're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Dr. Barry Taff will finish this story. We'll take your questions as well in the chat rooms next on Spaced Out Radio. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you from SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. Reminder, if you've missed most of this show or others, you can always go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Listen to the show live. Soon we'll have more features coming for you. Yes, the Gavinator is on them. Hey, we got Barry Taff on tonight. Dr. Barry Taff is here for the duration till we get to the SOR Newswire in hour 3. And we are talking paranormal. We're talking UFOs, the correlation between the two and the science that goes between it. His website, barrytaff.net, if you want to check him on out. Dr. Taff, welcome back.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here.
No problem. We are going to get to some questions from our audience here, and this goes back quite a bit here. Joey wants to know, Dr. Taff, you have an interesting hypothesis concerning PK and EM energy working without heat. However, inevitably, this idea collides with the second law of thermodynamics. How do you propose this could be tested if it cannot be detected?
I'm really glad she asked this question because it's what I wrote about in my new book I'm writing about this. I wrote about my website. Of course, something doesn't produce heat, the second law of thermodynamics. Duh, hello. It's telling us that there's another force out there that can do work, classical work, without producing heat. Let's make a jump from there to UFOs that have been videotaped by the military. And they say there's no heat plume. There's no exhaust. There's not heat being produced by the object. But it's moving in a hypersonic flight envelope. Huh? It doesn't produce a sonic boom. Huh? There's stuff out there that is totally different than what we've been taught in education. I mean, when I saw the table weighing 800 pounds jumping up and down like it weighed a feather, that can't happen. We should have been set on fire. Nope, the room got cold. That's telling us there's something out there that's staring into our face and going, hey, look, this is a little different. And if we find out what this is, imagine building technology based on this, machines that don't produce heat. No, that doesn't happen yet. Now, I'm glad she asked that. It's one of the best questions I've ever been asked. This lady obviously is well-educated and an intellectual. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Nikki asks, regarding geomagnetic that you talked about. Have you studied what happens with a psychic who walks into a strong geomagnetic field? If so, what happened? What happened to the psychic, and what were the results?
We haven't done studies on it, but we've had cases where we've had geomagnetic fields that were sometimes 100-fold was normal, and the polarity would shift, and their bodies hate change. Some people don't have any reaction to it at all. Other people, I walked in one of these environments, and I got sick as a dog, and every time I left, I had to go to the hospital. That's how bad it was. Other people went there, and they said it felt like something hit them in the head and the stomach with a baseball bat. You may know what I'm talking about. 2005, 2006, I investigated a case on Cielo Drive, and I've never seen geomagnetic field amplitudes at the level we got there. And things are flying around left and right, luminous anomalies, the whole bit. And yet, someone lives there and has had seizures there. Again, it's weird. Some people, one of my old friends who was there, who knew the owner years ago, they grew up together, he's been sick all of his life with all sorts of things. He went there. He didn't feel a thing. I said, what are you talking about? There's nothing here. He saw the measurements on the instruments. I don't feel anything. Another person goes there who's been healthy all of her life. She gets sick as a dog. Why? Because the resonant frequency coupling only happens with certain people, and we're not equipped yet to measure that without going to extreme funding expenditures we don't have. But yeah, it's the I see our bodies don't like change. So if you modify the environment, you change the field amplitude, the strength. You change the frequency, you oscillate it, and switch polarity. Our bodies hate that. I mean, with a great deal. They hate it. So, the question is, yes, I've seen it happen. I felt it happen. Every time I left the Cielo Drive case, within a matter of 8 hours, I ended up in the ER at Cedars Sinai. And they said, oh, you went to the house again. Yeah, why do you keep going back there? Because we're learning something. It is the ultimate field laboratory. And as I've said, there was no power on earth that would ever get me to go back there, because I don't feel like going back to the hospital again.
Mm-hmm. Continuing on with the audience questions here. Joey is asking in a question again here. He says, are you referring to measuring the increased biomagnetic fields, say with a squid, and are there any particular concentrations detected in particular areas of the body?
We have never had access to that, even though I'm familiar with squid devices. It's very hard to get access to. They're expensive to operate. I read material on it, but we have not. We have not. I have not done any work with that in the field, so to speak.
All right.
It's, like I said, there are no, as far as I know, handheld, portable, super-cooled magnetometers. Unless high-temperature superconductors might work, but I don't think anyone's using them yet.
Lisa is asking what you know about dark matter and where it comes into play.
Well, dark matter, dark energy, we keep changing the rules. There's a reason why the universe is continuing to expand. And instead of matter collapsing back into whatever, there's a repulsive force that is the opposite of gravity. It could be that. They don't know. Dark energy, dark matter, every couple of years the thinking on this changes. I have a funny feeling that they're going to discover a reality that's far beyond dark energy or dark matter. That's the terms used now for what we don't understand. We know colliding black holes, supermassive black holes, the center of galaxies like our own. They don't know. And that's the problem.
Moving on here, Nikki has a follow-up question. Dr. Taff, have you ever heard of a gentleman named R. Keith Andrews or talked to him about his ET contact experiences?
No. I have not.
All right. Yeah. He comes on here the first Friday of every month. He'll be on the show this coming Friday. Pretty interesting cat. That's for sure. Pretty interesting cat. I think a good conversation between you two would it'd be interesting. I think that's the only thing I can ask. All right, Nikki is also asking, what about abductees being in those geomagnetic fields? Do you know of what happens with them or their bodies?
We've never actually, I've only, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've tried to get some of these individuals into the high-amplitude geomagnetic fields, but perhaps they're wise enough to know that they don't want to do it. I know one of them was a young man, and I knew his aunt, and I warned him about going to this location, but I didn't tell him why. And he, oh, come on, you're exaggerating. So he went there, and within half an hour, he was sick and nauseous, and he started passing out and throwing up. So, but other people go there. See, like every situation is unique. But again, you could take 100 people, walk them through these environments, and everyone's going to be a little different. We don't know why. They're trying to see. We used to think that if you got 3 or 4 poltergeist agents together, their bodies emit these high biomagnetic fields, and if they're in the right environment, they could work together in concert, produce an effect that couldn't be produced on their own. It doesn't work that way. That's science fiction. I wish it did. But, I mean, I met a girl in 1972 named Sandra, beautiful blue-eyed blonde, and we were driving. I was driving her car west on the 10 freeway, and the doors started opening and close against the wind. Both doors with flapping, and she started freaking out. You know, but let me tell you the strangest thing that's ever happened to show you how we can throw out the laws of physics as we think we understand them. In 1992, in this one case, one of the rooms we were in, it's an old, beautiful house, nice Hispanic family, and one room started violently shaking. Well, what about the rest of the house, the other rooms? Nope, just one room. Not that we don't understand how it happened. It can't. The walls and ceiling and the floors are connected. That's what forms the house. This room was violently shaking, yet there was no evidence the other house. Nothing was moving but that room. Went beneath the house. We looked everywhere we could. Nothing. How do you explain it? We can't. And this is where the problem is. It's how personal this gets. Seeing the future. Okay? Supposedly the future is random. Can't change it. It's, it's random, it's chaos. Okay. 1970, I met a girl in college, and we were dating. Her name was Sharon. This is in my book, and it's on my website. Long story short, we were going, it was great. And then the dreams came to me. In the dreams, I'm in the back seat of a car. I see her in the passenger seat. I see someone with dark hair driving the car. Couldn't make out the make and model of the car. We turn on the cul-de-sac to get to her home. Suddenly, a much bigger car comes flying at us, hits us, glass, fire, explosion. It was terrible. And the dreams kept reoccurring. So finally, I told Sharon, and she said, oh, you just don't want to date me anymore because you live far away. I go, gas is 25 cents a gallon. Who cares? You know, I had a great car. I said, I'm not risking our lives. Oh, you're just cheap. You don't, okay, forget it. She got really upset, and I didn't blame her. So time went by. She started dating someone else. Guess what? The accident I saw, I saw the driver being killed and her being hurt. The accident occurred where I said it was. The difference was I wasn't driving. Her new boyfriend was. He died. She was badly injured, and she suffered the rest of her life because of it. Could I have changed that? Well, I could have made her come live with me in L.A., but she lived in Northridge. I don't think she wanted to do that. And she thought I was making it up. What if you know that a certain jet, let's say an airliner, is going to crash? But you don't know the day and the week. You just know the make and model of the plane, and it's on approach to a certain airport. Who do you call? You call the FBI? You call the FAA? You call Homeland Security? Happened to me, 1975 or 76. I had this dream. In the dream, I'm piloting a 747. I am a pilot, but I'm not, trained on that kind of aircraft. And in the dream, we're approaching South Africa. Don't ask me how. I knew it was TWA. Don't ask me how. Suddenly, it's a dead stick. The turbofan drone stops. We're falling like a lead balloon. We hit. There's a big explosion. I'm blown out of bed, covered in sweat. Oh, my God. I just researched 747. Just entered service not shortly before that. Perfect record. Okay. Weeks go by. Then suddenly, 747 on approach to South Africa. It's a TWA. Crashes. Exactly what I saw. So if I saw that today, what would happen if I called the FAA? Would they arrest me after the plane crashed? What would they do? What do you do? This is the problem. How much freedom do we have? Can we change the shape of things to come? There were a couple of good Twilight Zones that dealt with that, matter of fact. Some things may be malleable, while others are not. In the end, I think we're going to discover things about reality that we're not going to like. Things that realize that we're much more free than we ever believed, but at another level, we're sort of like we're bobbing in a pool. Oh, isn't it nice? We look, oh, it's not a pool, it's a glass, and it's someone else's glass. There's only so many degrees of freedoms we have. And this is the whole problem, is that we don't know. And this is that science wants to stay away from it because it upsets people. It challenges their beliefs sometimes. And, one of the biggest reasons, the reason I believe that our government will never declassify and disclose the UFO matter it would result in absolute chaos in our government. It might trigger another world war. It could, if it leaves us with an inconceivable past, an unimaginable future, where we're not who we think we are, and we're basically lab rats, and we've always been that, and the government, some parts of the government knew that, then what? My website gets into this a little bit. That how far do we go? What if we discover that we were created by something else? Not God. Not that I don't believe in God, because I do. But that we were made by another race of beings, and they weren't human. And it wasn't God. So then who, why? What's the point? We don't know. And that's it. Western civilization is based on the concept of domestic tranquility. That being that we're all comfortable and happy or whatever, and we know the government will support us and they can protect us. And what if they can't? If domestic tranquility ends, come April 15th, we stop writing our checks. Then we realize, what if it turns out we were sold out? That some years ago, the government allowed one group of aliens to experiment on us. Guinea pigs, abduction. What if that's real?
Well, that also leads to the question: do you believe that the Greada Treaty is real?
In part, I do. Yeah, I think we'll never know the whole part of it. There's all the information that's contradicting information. That the evidence suggests that we supposedly know of numerous different cultures that have visited, or races visited our planet. I mean, it goes from the typical grays, which are biomechanical entities, to tall Nordic blondes, to normal humans, to insectoid, to reptilian. But can this mean it's real? No. Does it mean it's not real? No. There was a picture in Omni magazine back in the early 80s. It's on my website, actually, of the dinosauroid. What they thought, if dinosaurs had not been wiped out by the Yucatan meteor, the asteroid hit long ago, what might have dinosaurs evolved into? They were bipedal beings, according to this image, that looked exactly like aliens. Well, maybe that's what they are. Maybe one race is, What it would do to people who go to church or synagogue or a mosque or worship their beliefs, and they go, well, hey, wait a minute, you didn't tell us this. This is something else. It is the single most carefully guarded secret on earth. And what if a faction of our government killed two really famous people, murdered them, in the 60s to prevent disclosure? One being an actress, the other being a president. What if that's real? I have 2 articles on my website about that. There is some indication that JFK was going to make disclosure. He knew about the bodies, called them spacemen, and the spaceships. He didn't say UFOs. And he told the CIA wasn't going to make disclosure. He would, and he was dead shortly thereafter. But there was a document popped up, and it was said to make Lancer, which was his code name, I believe, make him wet as soon as possible to prevent disclosure. Well, Lancer was JFK's code name. Make him wet means to murder him. They did. And so we thought it was also because of Russia, because of this, because of that. It was Oswald. It was this. It was, mafia. It was, we'll never know. But I have this funny feeling when I read about this that when it turns out that this is the reason, that he was going to do what no one else would have done, and he was eliminated. And same thing with, Marilyn Monroe. The evidence suggests that when he was having his brief tryst with her, that he was telling her about what he knew and saw, and was demanding, and she was making notes in her little black book or diary, which has disappeared. And she started calling the White House and making demands about that if he doesn't divorce his wife and marry her, he was going to do a press conference. And then she found dead days later, supposedly from a overdose of barbiturates or whatever. I don't know. I just got a bad feeling. I have a funny feeling that we may never know the truth. It may be so far in the future, people will go, who's who? Kennedy? Who's Kennedy? There was no one named Kennedy. We live in a weird world. And it's what we don't know that's frightening, not what we do know. And the thing I wanted to mention that there's good evidence that there is what's called a breakaway civilization that's come about due to a faction of our government. And this breakaway civilization may have developed something equivalent to warp drive for interstellar propulsion in real time. Go to my website. You can read about it. It's on the Internet. Richard Dolan has talked extensively about this. And so that would mean that all the Mercury, the Gemini, the Apollo stuff is all a joke. It was a deflection from what was really going on.
That is right. And on that note, we're going to get you to hold on. We got Dr. Barry Taff for another 30 minutes on Spaced Out Radio tonight. More conspiracy, UFOs, paranormal coming up with Dr. Taff on Spaced Out Radio in Hour 3.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
From the mile-high mountains of Colorado to all of you around the world, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I invite you to stick around spacedoutradio.com for Saturday and Sunday nights where I host Spaced Out Weekend. Let me take you on a wild ride of weird and strange topics, from ghosts and ETs to remote viewing, psychic phenomena, and so much more. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time on Spaced Out Weekend, where we own the night.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour is underway on Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us, especially if you're listening in on WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, down in Reedsport, Oregon, KDUN AM 1030, and in Ridgecrest, California, KZFX 93.7 FM. On the digital side, we're proud to broadcast on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Remember, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. AQL. AQL is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Listen to the show live. We're going to have some new features coming very, very shortly. For the final time tonight, we introduce our guest, Dr. Barry Taff. His website, barrytaff.net. If you want to check it out, he has a half a century of investigation between paranormal, UFOs, and everything in between. Dr. Taff, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Dave.
I want to get to some more audience questions here because they are stocked up for you. And before we do that, right before the break, you were talking about the fact that you believe, with the information you, I believe, have seen, that President Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe were murdered because of disclosure.
Yeah, so of possible disclosure. And, you know, I never believed that Marilyn committed suicide anyway. So that, I didn't believe it. I didn't know why. I think she was murdered, didn't know why. The whole thing surfaced about her and then JFK. It's nauseating. It's a deep sense of disgust. It's bad enough that both the people died so young. But to think that they were eliminated because of what they knew, that's horrifying. So if a government would do that, not a faction would do it, what else wouldn't they do? I mean, they've done illegal biological warfare testing on people. done all types of medical tests illegally on people, radioactivity, radionics, things like that. Not radionics, but I mean the effects of radionuclides on the body. It's just they look at us like we're guinea pigs. We're what's the word? We're expendables. That's the word that they use. What's interesting is in some research that surfaced over the last couple of decades, if one believes this, aliens, supposedly they're interested in us because of what our soul, our consciousness, and they look at us as the word was containers. Containers. Okay, so we're containers filled with consciousness, and they want to see what'll come out of this. It's very unnerving, the whole thought of that. It's because, for example, for the most part, UFOs are harmless, 99.99%. But look at Brazil. There have been a tremendous amount of violent activity by UFOs, and people burning them, just grabbing them, pulling them, irradiating them, and things they could never do in the United States because of the way we live. But this is going on in Brazil in the 70s. UFOs, Terror, Death in Brazil, I think it's called, the book. And some of this is online. There have been documentaries on cable about it. And why are they doing it there, but they're not doing it here? Then, of course, you have cattle mutilation, which go back to the first case was in the 60s, of animals that have strange procedures performed, like organs are missing and eyes, and certain skin is removed, but with surgical precision. They don't know what did it. This has been going on for decades. No one knows what's going on. How come the news doesn't carry these stories anymore? There was that show that was on for 10 weeks called Unidentified, and what really bothered me about it was that not one thing they spoke of was new. Nothing. Every case they spoke of was known. I mean, our intelligence community and military has known that UFOs can fly hypersonically without producing sonic booms forever, since we knew how to fly. We knew they can turn off certain machines like we hit a switch to turn off the light. Nothing new. The hook of the show, and a disarming one at that, was that our nation's being threatened by UFOs. No, they're not. Not here. Not in Europe. Maybe in Brazil, but not in the United States. But that was the hook for the show. That's what made people look. Oh, there's a threat. There's a national security threat. There is, according to who? So, it was interesting. They kept repeating the same footage over and over and over and over. They glossed over some things. They try to explain what happens if you try to make a very rapid turn at high speed, but they didn't do it in a way to get people to thoroughly understand it. If you're driving your car, let's say you're on the freeway doing 65 miles an hour, and what happens if you suddenly turn the wheel to the right or left? Well, inertia will make the car, momentum will make the car spin around and possibly flip over. I mean, where the car wants to keep going in the same direction it was, even though you've turned the front wheels. In a plane, same thing. If it stops suddenly, you're crushed along with the plane. Boom. Nothing we know of can be immune to that. Yet UFOs can have at times generated over 1,000 G acceleration, which is mind-boggling. That can't mean 1,000 times the force of gravity. The fastest item humans have produced is back in the old days when they were building the anti-ballistic missile system in the 60s to the earlier mid-70s, called a Sprint or Spartan ABM missile, from rest to 15,000 miles per hour in 8 seconds. Thousands of Gs, I think, it produced. But we did that more than almost 50 years ago. Different metals, we knew that then. We're not using it now. I don't know. There's just, there's so much. If you want to read, on my website, there's a thing called, let's see, plane standing. What's it? Oh, Come Fly With Me, The Last Plane Standing. And it's all about the Aurora SR-91 reconnaissance vehicle that replaced the SR-71. And that needs to be updated as well. But I mean, it's just, there's so much going on out there that people don't know about. And that's how the government gets away with it. People don't read. You know, they just watch. That sounds good, and they leave.
But it makes it so much easier when we live in a headline society. There's no more investigation anymore. We're not used to that anymore. That's been taken away.
When it comes to UFOs, the media has always had a ridicule factor. They always somewhat discredit it, make a joke out of it. Yeah, it's a joke. And even when that UFO unidentified show was running, the news snips they had were a little better, but they look at this stuff as a joke. And I always wondered, why does the news media treat the paranormal and ufology with great disdain? Well, this is what I think. We know that the news is not simply the news. The news, they have to get ratings to pay themselves money to do well. So they tend to exaggerate, they embellish, they distort information in order to make the news more glamorous, or they normalize violence, they glamorize it, the first couple of stories about death and murder, and show. And so they know that they're lying to us. Forget the fake news stuff with Trump. It has nothing to do with that. That the news is there to make you watch. And that's why the first several stories are about violence and death. Oh, they'll watch it. How many people were shot today? How many people were killed here? Oh, a plane crash. It's all about grabbing your attention. They embellish and distort information. This is on my website. There's a big article on it. And if the news media know that they're not giving you reliable, objectively verifiable information all the time, they say, well, what we do is BS, so that means everything else must be BS. It's simple. If they know what they're doing isn't real, why should anyone else promote anything that's real? It's all a lie. And that's the problem. It's real simple.
All right, let's get to some questions here from our audience because we want to keep them involved as well. And one of the questions that has come up tonight, is from Nikki, who says, Dr. Taff, what do you think would happen in society if we did receive real disclosure and aliens showed up to show a presence on Earth, psychologically speaking?
I think it'd be one of the most culture-shocking events in human history. It's not just that an alien is here, or has been, or will be here. It's that, like you spoke of earlier, the government has been lying to us for how many decades about this? It's all BS. It's all lie. Oh, it's misinterpretation. It's this. It's that. It's not real. No. It's an illusion. It's regular aircraft. It's the sun. It's the moon. It's Venus. And remember, we think that we are in the top of everything, human beings. Nothing. There's no other life form on Earth that competes with us for existence. It's just humans. Animals live the way they live, but we compete. We're the only predatory species that preys even upon itself without the need for food most of the time. Alien disclosure, what if it's not just they're here, but what if it turns out that we have an inconceivable past? That, let's say, what was just evolved here on its own were primitive hominids or proto-humans, nowhere near what we call Homo erectus or Homo sapiens of today. And there was intervention, and they played with the genetic engineering, and different beings popped up. Some worked out, some didn't. The experiment is still ongoing. If that's true, what would that do to people who go to church regularly, or synagogue, or a mosque? It would, wait, you're telling me my God isn't real? No, but we were made by someone else. Huh? We were made. We were engineered. It would be the most self-destructive thing that, in my opinion, our country could do. Western civilization would tear it. I mean, we've been fighting in the Middle East now for how many years? 16, 17 years? A never-ending fight? This stuff comes out, and it's what I think it is, regarding the whole theological aspect. We're going to be in a never-ending war with the entire planet. People go crazy. When I was teaching all over Southern California, one of the parts of my school was on ufology, an entire night on ufology, sometimes 2 nights. And some people got really upset with me because they didn't like the idea that something could have created humans. And yes, it's intelligent design, except God had nothing to do with it. And they got really pissed. They went to the principal. We want our money back. Okay, here's your money back. Leave. This is at Beverly Hills High Adult School, adult education, way back when. I started teaching there in 80 through 92. And this is a sort of a microscopic view of what I think would happen. Forget movies. It's not like we see in the movies where they're all good and bad. Supposedly, I think last thing I heard, there were like 16 or 18 different races visiting Earth. Some are good, some are not good. Supposedly, we've had contact with them. There was a great TV series on like 20 years ago. I think it's called Dark Skies. Bryce Zabel was the creator of it. He's a writer-producer.
Yes.
Great,
he was just on this show a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, great. It was the best show I've ever seen on UFO. Now, you ever see a movie called, what's the name of the movie? With, whether cattle are being mutilated. Robert Urich was in it. The one from from Poltergeist.
I haven't seen it, but I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, it was well done. And rather than saying they implied UFOs, but then it turned out it was governments doing secret biological warfare research, which was supposedly illegal. The movie was very well done. Robert Urich was in it. High-quality film. It was really good. Nothing negative about it. Well, that was during the Reagan administration. Reagan wanted to see it. He saw it, and the movie was pulled from our ticket shortly thereafter. We'll never know all of it, but some of it could be our own people doing it, and they're faking UFO encounters there, so we won't pay attention to it. But this has been going on all over the world, not just here, not in the United States. So, it's been going on, and people, it makes them sick to think about people mutilating animals, and now there's people claiming that humans have been mutilated. And the same way that animals have in different parts of the world. I don't know if I believe it. It's disgusting. It's probably in some ways almost as bad as the animals being mutilated. There's no way of knowing what's real. But I'll tell you, the minute people tell me that they're in it, like they go out in the field in a nice warm summer night, and they see a light in the distance. Oh, it's an alien ship. Telepathically vector them in over here. Of course, what they're really seeing is a normal aircraft miles away with its anti-collision lights on. And, I won't say who's doing this, but there have been people that have been doing this. I go, yeah, right. And there have been some great movements in the sense of some disclosure efforts where some high-ranking ex-military people and intelligent people testified before Congress, and they did some really good, conveyed good information, but it begins and ends there.
Do you believe
the ex-Prime Minister of Canada even was there? Go ahead.
Do you believe then that this is a worldwide government decision, maybe through the UN or somebody like that, on whether or not disclosure should happen? It's not an American thing. It's not a Canadian thing, a British thing, or a Russian thing.
I wouldn't even trust the UN with it. It was sort of like the Majestic 12 stuff that some people say is real, some people say is not. I think that our government went to great lengths to collect this information and prevent it from being disclosed to the world. Supposedly there was this classified from British Ministry of Defense or MI6 UFO, but they're just declassified stuff we already know about. There's lots of cases people have never heard about ongoing. In the mid-'70s, many of our SAC bases, nuclear bases, were visited by UFOs. They would come to fly over the bases. The radars would go crazy. They would what's the word? They would turn off the ability for us to launch our ICBMs. And somehow they scrambled the codes in the MIRVs, in the warhead, so if we did launch them, God knows where they'd go. And this is 50 years ago. The Malmstrom, Loring, Falconbridge, they're all over the country. And in late 60s and then early mid-70s.
How come we don't hear of those reports anymore, though?
Well, actually, in that show Unidentified, they got into that about the SAC bases and things like that. The Rendlesham Forest, Bentwaters affair from 1980, an extraordinary case witnessed by some really intelligent, competent people. No one knows what it is. And shortly thereafter, around the same time, a weird vehicle was seen in Dayton, Texas, by these two women and their nephew, and they stopped to look at it, and it radiated the car, and one of the women died of radiation sickness, and one of the women, the Cash Landrum case, and the woman who primarily died, all of her information vanished from a hospital that helped her. That helped. Supposedly, it was that flattened diamond thing that was emitting a lot of light and heat. They had trouble touching their car, and the kid, he was shielded by the bodies of these two elderly women around him. But the highway had melted beneath the object, and they repaired it the very next day. I've never heard of that happening. When does road repair, that is it major, occur the very next day? So, it's just, there's all this. And the more we learn, the stranger it gets. I just have this feeling that the government's, in this respect, doing the right thing for the right reasons. We would not benefit from disclosure at this point. I mean, we have trouble dealing with ourselves. I mean, there's black, and there's white, and there's red, and there's yellow, and there's brown, and there's tall, and there's short, and there's male, and there's female, and there's everything in between. And we're eating ourselves alive emotionally. We don't need another catharsis to tear us apart, which is what this would be. And if this was proven, every faction on Earth would try to gain favor from the aliens and get them to work with them to give them an advantage, take advantage of everyone else. And, in history, every time an inferior culture has met up with a superior culture has met up with an inferior one, the inferior one is either assimilated or destroyed. And that's a big factor that our government believes, and there's some evidence to back it up. Not good.
Dr. Taff,
good at all. Mm-hmm.
We only got just over a minute left with you tonight. This is a show that flew on by. I would love to do it again sometime soon with you, and I hope you enjoyed your time on Spaced Out Radio for the first time. Do me a favor, please. Let our audience know where they could find your books and information on your research.
Okay. My website is barrytaff.net. You can't miss it. It's all, and a lot of I've written over 100 articles, which are quite detailed. My book is Aliens Above, Ghosts Below, Exploration of the Unknown. It's no longer in print, but you can find used copies on Amazon. I am running another book. I can't disclose the title, but it's going to go into more detail than the first book did and cover a lot more information. I just want to say real quickly that I almost died 4 years ago, very close to dying. And since I've been still recuperating from, extraordinary events have been occurring in my life beyond anything I've ever imagined. And I've just uncovered the reason why they're happening to me now. And that'll be it for another show at another time.
Absolutely, my friend. Dr. Barry Taff, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. What an absolute pleasure. I could sit here and just listen. I could just sit here and listen all night. I pretty much did, much like the audience, which is absolutely awesome. That created some very good radio tonight. Thank you so much. Once again, Dr. Barry Taff's website is barrytaff.net. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day, so stay tuned as we take this home.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today. Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you from SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for a great night so far. Want to remind you, if you've missed most of this show or others, you can always go to our website. Actually, our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. It's where we put our archives for free. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where soon we'll have a plethora of features for you. Right now, you can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. You can listen to the show live. And, of course, you can always check in often, because the Gavinator will have new features coming very, very soon. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show. Captain Shirk scouring the world for the weird, the strange, those head-scratchers of stories. So we're going to kick things off with an article from Captain Shirk. So, you know, the whole Storm Area 51 thing. I mean, yeah, that's got blown out of proportion. Recently, Arby's said they're going to feed everybody who goes. Yeah. So I want to know how many of you out there have been practicing your Naruto run. What's that? The Naruto run, where you kind of bend over, get the best aerodynamics you can. You're kind of looking like a speed skater during the Olympics, except without the tight bodysuit. And you put your arms way behind you, and you start running side to side. Well, anyways, so apparently it's not going to work. Yeah, it's not going to work. Yeah, for years, ufologists have believed Area 51 housed aliens and other spaceships from crashed UFO sites. There's also belief that spacecraft have been back-engineered, thus the need for absolute secrecy. But let's face it, The Storm Area 51 event, which started as a sarcastic joke posted on Facebook in June, is kind of taken off. The plan was simple: from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. Pacific time, September 20th of this year. So we're about just under 2 months away. People will gather and storm the gate and the base. Even though there really isn't a gate, there's just kind of a sign that warns you that the use of deadly force will be enacted if necessary, and that they would Naruto run because that would make them move faster than bullets. Accomplish it by running with the head down, arms straight back. Well, apparently, right now, sitting at about 3 million people have either signed up to participate or are showing interest in the event. Even though the government has addressed this publicly and seriously with assurances it's not a joke to the Air Force and instructs people to stay away, the interest and enthusiasm continues to build. Why anyone would take this seriously and not respect the government's warning to refrain from trespassing is incomprehensible. It's not a video game. We only get one do-over if shot, if you're lucky. And with authorization, real bullets can be fired, real people can be killed and injured. At the very least, jail is another concept within the realm of possibility. People who are planning on attending Storm Area 51 should heed the warning, stay away, and enjoy a chuckle from afar. This is not something that will end well for anyone there. I don't even think anybody's going to get close to the gate. I think on the 20th and the 19th and the 21st, those roads are going to be so blocked up by police that nobody's going to get close. Not a soul. But in case you are going, practice your Naruto run. Even though we don't condone you going here at Spaced Out Radio. At least 2 watchmen have reported seeing a large black creature with glowing eyes in Karachi, Pakistan, centered primarily around the city of Shursha Flea Market. The sightings were first reported by 2 separate watchmen on 2 consecutive nights. The first man, Gulzar is his name, had been performing his duties outside a warehouse when he heard dogs barking nearby and decided to go investigate. He reported feeling a strange sensation before encountering a black creature with eyes as bright as a torchlight. I've never seen anything like that before in 25 years as a watchman, he said. The following night, another watchman, Abdul, reported the same thing. Once word started to get around about the mysterious nocturnal intruder, panic started to set in, with several more workers in the area claiming they'd seen the creature. Some even reported the sightings to police, and an investigation into the mystery is now underway. As things stand, however, no conclusive explanation has been found. Great. They got Bigfoot hanging out in the desert now. Or would it be Brownfoot? Because I'm pretty sure being a dark creature would be very, very hot in those arid desert days. Hey, here's a good one. You got an extra 60 grand lying around? Well, if you've ever wanted to own your very own natural disaster, now is your chance. An extinct 250 million-year-old volcano in Britain is up for sale for $60,890 or 50,000 British pounds. In Canadian terms, it's about $2 million. The plot of land known as Posbury Clump is located in the Devon countryside and has been designated as a site of special scientific interest. Approximately 100 years ago, part of the site was used as a rock quarry producing basalt stone that was used in the Crediton Church, Medland Manor, and a number of other buildings in Devon. The wooded canopy conceals the vestiges of the old workings, which extended over and about half the site. There is a vehicular access to the track which leads to the old quarry, and the canopy covered is indigenous native trees, including ash, oak, and holly. It's actually quite beautiful from the air. Yeah, buy a volcano. Comes with your own forest, your own mine. Looks like some cornfields around in the area. Don't know if you could put a house up there. But according to one person, Jackson Stops, He says the plot of land is a rare chance for someone to make the unique claim that you are the proud owner of your very own volcano. This really kind of jumps into that whole category of when you have too much money, what do you buy? How about a volcano? Not everybody can say that. Up here in Canada, the search for 2 teenage suspected murder suspects is still underway. Yeah. RCMP continue to scour northern Manitoba for 2 young men suspected in the killings of 3 people, including an American woman and an Australian boyfriend. And they may have got some help. RCMP say that a gentleman in Cold Lake, Alberta, before they were announced as suspects, actually helped them get out of a sticky, muddy situation along a very damp trail. Went home, read the news, and went, oh my goodness. The RCMP swarmed York Landing this past weekend after saying they received a credible tip that the 2 young men matching the description of Cam McLeod and Briar Schmigelski were in the area, which is about 56 miles from Gilliam, where a vehicle that had been used by the suspect was first found burned out last week. But they believe that they went another direction. Corporal Chris Manceau says the authorities had to go where the evidence leads us, and they have not pulled officers away from searches in the Gillam area after possible sightings. We would never want to put our eggs all in one basket. The Canadian military is now helping out to try and find these 2 alleged suspects. I'm telling you, they probably hopped a train. Probably hopped on one of the train lines going around there. That's what I think. It's getting interesting. I wonder what the Vegas odds are on these guys right now. I mean, they've been on the lam for 2.5 weeks. I wonder what the odds are. Somebody contact a casino in Vegas. We got to find this out. Moving on. Florida's Conservation Authority earlier this month has urged homeowners to exterminate invasive green iguanas whenever possible without the need for permits. Well, this has caused an accidental shooting of a pool maintenance worker by an iguana hunter has now prompted state officials to clarify the directive. Apparently, they now have to say, hey, people, this isn't the Wild West. No, it's Florida. When Florida's Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission declared open season on the iguanas, it did so without explaining how iguanas were to be exterminated, aside from a vague comment about the invasive reptiles being protected by anti-cruelty laws. The state is currently dealing with a massive green iguana infestation, with the invasive species causing damage to seawalls, sidewalks, and ornamental gardens. Yeah. Well, apparently, unfortunately, the message has been conveyed that we are asking the public to just go out there and shoot them up. According to FWC Commissioner Rodney Barreto, this is not what we are about. This is not the Wild West. It's Florida, Rodney. What do you expect? So, yeah. Though not explicitly mentioned, the revised statement that they have now created was likely prompted by an incident earlier this month in which a pool worker was accidentally shot by an unnamed iguana hunter in Boca Raton. Thankfully, the worker was shot by a pellet gun, and his injuries were not severe or life-threatening. Homeowner E. Lynn Bryan was checking up on the pool crew when the incident happened. I heard him scream at the top of his lungs, "Ow!" And he had blood coming out of his leg. We have iguanas everywhere, Brian said. If neighbors are going to kill like it's the wild, wild west and shoot everything at sight, someone's going to get killed. You need to protect your children. The kids fish back here all the time. Yeah, the FWC says, if you are not capable of safely removing iguanas from your property, please seek assistance from professionals who do this for a living. Seriously. The Wild West on iguanas. All right. Interesting letter from one of your congressmen in the United States. Congressman Mark Walker, as of July 16th, it's now been released, sent a letter to Honorable Richard Spencer, Secretary of the United States Navy. We're going to read this because this is kind of cool. Secretary Spencer, in recent days, members of Congress and the public have seen press reports regarding unidentified aerial phenomena engaging with or encountering our naval aviators. The report mentioned the existence of these encounters both domestically and abroad during various missions and trainings. We also have seen statements made by the Department of Defense regarding steps taken by the Navy to draft new guidelines for aviators to report these occurrences. Additionally, there have been reports of significant investments in advanced aerospace technologies like the recorded UAP encounters by China. Based on pilot accounts, encounters with these UAPs often involve complex flight patterns and advanced maneuvering, which demand extreme advances in quantum mechanics, nuclear science, electromagnetics, and thermodynamics. If the accounts are true, the unidentified craft could pose serious security risk to our military personnel and defense apparatus. They could also, this is what I find interesting, because never mind the public, let's worry about the military first. He goes on to say, they could also represent tremendous opportunity for advancements in science and technologies that could contribute to the public good. So we're worried about them attacking the military, but the technology could be good for people. But they could attack the military. Anyways, the letter goes on to say, we believe the answers to these questions are vital to our national security and scientific research of significant public interest. Thank you for your immediate attention at this matter. We look forward to working with you on this important matter to ensure our domestic security. Mark Walker, member of Congress. This guy's taking this pretty seriously here. Pretty seriously. We're going to have to keep an eye on this one. I know Captain Shirk is all over it in the SOR Newswire. But things could be getting heavy in the UFO front in D.C. Finally, a Florida man has been arrested after reportedly using a horse to break into a home. It all started when homeowner Steve Ferguson began receiving alerts on his phone showing surveillance of a Florida man on his property. Steve called the sheriff's office before heading home to confront the intruder. When he arrived, he saw a horse attempting to flee the scene, as well as a 52-year-old named Lonnie Maddox. "What are you doing at my house?" Ferguson asked. Maddox explained, "My horse broke into your house, mister, and I had to go in and get her." I said, "Okay, so she broke into the gate and then the porch and then the house?" Surveillance footage showed Maddox on the property attempting to enter the padlocked front door. When he couldn't get it in, he broke the back window and climbed inside. Yep. Florida man is now in jail. Approximately $100 in damages. The horse didn't even belong to Maddox. He stole that as well. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages earlier on the day, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What would you like to see happen in paranormal science to enhance results? The duck. I think we start controlling and documenting what is currently being done. Dave, let's invade Area 51 and see what results they are hiding. William, knowledge needs to be built on the shoulders of the previous generations. Cases that have been shown to be invalid or after objective and thorough investigation need to be cast aside. The entire UFO issue needs to get away from pseudoscience. Anything else is uncivilized. He didn't say that, but I just added that because I thought it would seem cool. Sparky, better communication between researchers and the settings aside of egos. Kelly and Kelly's beard, a better vetting system for some of the people in this field. That way we don't have to put up with years worth of BS about blue chickens or going to Mars with Obama. John, Need to stop promoting the rock star status of the participants and just get down to scientific basis. All cases need to have validation and a way to check it. Database of general terms and facts make accountability a prerequisite for legitimacy. If you can't back it up in court of law, then why make it public? Bobby, double Bobby, we call him. Less fear-mongering, not all the woo is evil. Kevin, bind, interrogate, terminate, and examine all paranormal creatures publicly by a panel of trained medical examiners. Gail, I would like to see people stop thinking scientific protocols can be applied to anecdotal evidence because anecdotal evidence cannot be investigated by science and the scientific method, be it UAPs or ghosts. The experiencers and their stories are all we have, and they will not be contained in a petri dish nor on a graph. Heather, have the government release their research and results on Skinwalker Ranch and other known sites. Give science funding, grants to research all paranormal investigators so we can create real jobs in the field. Declassify Bigfoot and Dogman knowledge. Declassify military knowledge on giants in Afghanistan and open the hidden Smithsonian exhibits on all skeletons and bodies they've been hiding. Release the truth of what the government already knows about our true history of our planet, religions, magic, etc. Marty, maybe have the top science officials in the world get abducted and probed by aliens or snatched away by Sasquatch. Then see if they change their tune about the paranormal. Yeah. Barry Taff, just on the air, to offer series clinical funding to learn more than what we know now and funding that wouldn't destroy your career. Oh, that's a good one. We're going to end it right there on the thought of the day. Thank you for everybody getting back to us and playing along with us. Maybe tomorrow you'll be able to hear yours. Go to my Facebook page or on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio, at Spaced Out Radio on Twitter as well. And maybe we'll read yours tomorrow night. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Big thank you to Captain Shirk for putting the news together for the SOR Newswire. You can find all of our news at spacedoutradio.com. Make sure you go check it on out. Also, big thank you to Dr. Barry Taff for coming on in, breaking down the paranormal, the science, and the connection to UFOs. Very intriguing conversation about that. Very intriguing. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms on Spreaker, the SOR Space Travelers Club on Facebook, Revolution Radio, and on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio, wherever you may be. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you for sharing your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me.
I know you're out there somewhere.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home.
Don't make a mistake. We're watching.
Good night, everybody. Have a great one. We're going to do this again very, very soon. Good night.